I was meditating and I thought I heard my brother. I said, how do I know if this is my brother or if this is just my imagination? And before I could finish the word imagination, I heard Toblerone, and Toblerone was my brother's favorite chocolate. And it was that moment that I knew that it was my brother. That's another shift that happened because I'm like, wait, what? Like this whole time, magic is real. Like it's shocking when you feel it for the first time.
Hello, Gina. Welcome to the Innerknowingpodcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll just let you give us an introduction of you and what you do and how you go about your practices.
I am a psychic evidential medium. And this is pretty new to me. I'd say within like the last year and a half. This is not something I've been doing for years and years and years. And it's kind of it's a very interesting story, but I feel like a lot of people could relate to it. So basically what I do now is I do mediumship in person. I've done demonstrations where you get in front of a group of people and pull through their past loved ones. And then I also have a TikTok channel in which I share my abilities as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I met you on TikTok and I see the way you do your mediumship, and it's very interesting. And I love that style, because sometimes the first time I saw you, you were looking this way, and I'm like, what is she looking at?
I know. I can't. If I look at the screen, it's like I connect with whoever's there. So I have to look away. And I always tell people, I'm like, don't get mad if I don't look at you. And then I'm like the weirdo that's like looking over the side.
Yeah. Everybody has a different style. How did you realize this? Was it a gift? Was it something you were born with, or was it something you had to, train for eventually as you grew up?
When I was little, I would see spirits on, they would be in my bedroom, or I would wake up and they would be looking at me over my bed. And it terrified me. I slept literally in my parents' bedroom until I was 14 years old because I was so scared. And I think that I just pushed it super far down. Not until almost 2 years ago, my brother passed away. And then it was all over. It was all over after that. I think that I had this after my brother passed away. He was in a different country, and it was very traumatic for our family. And very, I mean, he was 39 years old. 39-year-old doesn't, just pass away. And we didn't even know he was gone for 2 weeks, and it was very tragic. So after that, I went on a mission because my brother was here and now he's not. And where did he go? So I started getting mediumship readings every day. I don't suggest you do that, but I got mediumship readings every day. I was trying to find out answers as to how and why he passed. And a lot of it was a mystery. So that was part of it I was trying to figure out. It was in a different country, so I had to get his belongings back. But in this whole realm of chaos, I got sick. I went into urgent care and they said, okay, lay down and lift your right leg. And I lifted it. And they said, lift your left leg. And I thought I was lifting it. And they said, can you lift your left leg, ma'am? And I looked down and I wasn't lifting it. And immediately just tears, because it was 3 months after my brother's passing. And all of a sudden now the left side of my body wasn't working. I was walking with a limp, and then eventually I needed like help to walk. And was admitted into the hospital for 3 days. Literally, they did every test under the sun. And I think it turned out to be a hemiplegic migraine, which mimics a stroke. And I think from all the stress of everything that had happened, that my body was done and my mind was done. So it was in that moment in the hospital that I decided that I had to do something different. Like what I was doing wasn't working for me. And I decided to start meditating. And once I started meditating, I realized that I could almost hear spirit, and things started shifting. My entire world shifted from this deep, dark place that I literally didn't think that I was going to make it out of, to me going on a quest to find out what happened to my brother. And I did. And he's in spirit and he's fine. And he's always with me everywhere, every day, all the time.
So he was the one who sort of like his death sort of opened up the spirit world to you again. So I'm sorry to hear about your loss though.
Thank
And
you.
in between, like when you grew up and when you was there a period of time where you weren't connected per se to the spirit world, or did it kind of shut down after some period? Like what exactly happened in between those?
So I grew up super Catholic, like really Catholic. Went to Catholic school, and it just never really felt completely
Mhm.
right for me. I feel like I lost my way because I didn't want to put what I felt in a box, because I didn't believe that something's maybe so amazing fit in a box. And that's all I thought about it until my brother passed away. And he was the first very, very close
Mhm.
person to me to pass away. And I think that really changes people, especially the way he passed. It'll change you forever. So in my way, it changed me in a bad way until I realized that what I was doing to myself, it was making me sick. Um, and I was meditating one time, Aisha, and
Okay.
I was sitting there and I was like meditating and I thought I heard my brother. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, I said, if this is real, like if this is, how do I know if this is my brother or if this
Mhm.
is just my imagination? And before I could finish the word imagination, I heard Toblerone, and Toblerone was my brother's favorite chocolate. When we were little, that he would always get it. And it's that little, like that triangle, like long chocolate that a kid normally wouldn't want to eat, but we always made fun of him because he would always get Toblerone. And it was that moment that I knew that it was my brother. And that's another shift that happened because I'm like, wait, what? Like this
Wow.
whole time, this magic is real. Like, and it's shocking when you feel it for the first time.
You heard it like noise or you felt him or how exactly did it come
So
true?
when I meditate, it's pretty much, I don't hear, it's not other people's voices, it's my own voice, but you
Mhm.
know that it's not your own. And that takes a little bit of discernment. I had been meditating for a little bit, so I knew I was like, wait, this is strange. And it comes in so quick, so quick. But spirit shows themselves in literally everywhere all the time. But for me, it's my own voice, or sometimes I'll feel spirit. And I have heard spirit outside of my body too. They call it like in the mind's eye, if you're hearing it kind of inside your head. But I have heard spirit outside of my head and have seen spirit, but I also have boundaries because I'm terrified. I'm like, please don't stand at the edge of my bed at night. Like it's aggressive. So I tell them I don't want to see that.
Do you saw that before happen to you a
Yes.
couple of times?
Yes. When I was younger, and then I laid in my bed one night. I have three kids. Laid in my bed and I said, okay, if I'm a medium, like if this is all real, I need a sign
Okay.
that this is all real. I need a sign that this is all real that I cannot miss. Because I was starting to figure out that I was a medium, that I could read people. And I'm like, wait, I've been doing this my whole life. Like, and I didn't realize that I was doing it almost.
Mhm.
And I laid in bed, and no joke, no joke, I heard the loudest music I have ever heard. Everybody in the house is
Wow.
asleep. I was not asleep. And I was like, it shot me out of bed. And I looked around and I still heard it. And then it went away. And it wasn't music from like a baby toy or music from a TV. It wasn't like
Mhm.
that. It was music that I had never heard before. And I was like, holy crap. I laid back down, closed my eyes. I opened my eyes again, and there was someone at the foot of my bed. And that was the last time. Thank gosh, because I don't like seeing
Was
things.
it physically like a real
Yes.
person or just like a
Yeah.
shadow?
I guess it was more like a shadow, but it was
Mhm.
different, like tones of shadow. That makes sense. Like
Okay.
not a complete black shadow.
Yeah. How old were you then?
Oh, this was like a year and a half ago. A year ago, I'd say.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh no. Okay.
I
Yeah.
see stuff every once in a while, but
Mhm.
nothing scary. It's all beautiful.
When you're done with the readings and stuff, do you do like any special meditations or space clearing to kind of tell the, spirits not to come forward or not let them come into your space?
So what I usually do is I send the sitter or the client their loved one back to them with love and light. And I'll kind of put my hands up so spirit knows that there's an intention there. After I get off the call or after I'm done the reading, I just ask my guides and spirit to remove anything from my aura, my energy that is
Mhm.
not my own. And I physically feel it when I do that. And I can tell sometimes I have to do it 2 or 3 times in a row until I feel it.
Oh,
I feel it
wow.
like up the spine of my back. It's like a chill that like releases. It's
Is it that?
wild.
So they're that much in your energy space that you can feel it like up into your spine.
Yes, yes. I've done readings before where I have started stuttering
Oh,
because the loved one who had passed away stuttered and they were trying to show their loved one that I was reading for that it was really them. And I couldn't stop stuttering. It's wild.
how do you stay in check in those kind of readings? Because I mean, it's a different energy. It's not really your energy. How do you, I guess I'm trying to ask, how do you merge those energies like together and still be yourself in that reading? Because this is me, but this is this person's loved one, but I'm letting them into my space, but at the same time, it's still me in this in this reading, trying to translate to you. How do you stay grounded, I guess, in your own personality while delivering those kind of messages?
So when they kind of like come in and I kind of like merge with them, it's not like they take over my whole body. It's almost like they give me aspects of them. If they were intubated, for example, I will start going like this to my throat. But this is all from just like learning. I've watched videos
Mhm.
back of myself because I've had to, like, wait, that makes complete sense. I had like a red mark here because I was scratching so bad.
Oh, wow.
And then after 10 minutes, of reading, I was like, wait, I'm like, was your father intubated? And they were like, yes, he was. He couldn't speak. And I was like, that's why. So they try to get me to tell their loved ones something through a variety of mediums, like a variety of ways. It's feeling. Sometimes I will feel if they
Mhm.
passed of cancer, for example, I'll get physically nauseous. And I have felt like I was actually going to get sick before, but I've learned over time that you can ask spirit to step back if it's too much, if you're feeling too much. And that's only because of people in the community helping me, the teachers I've had, the mediums that have read for me. That was a huge thing. Huge. I had a medium read for me,
Mhm.
Erica. She is amazing. And she brought through the personality of my brother.
Oh, wow.
And that was, and once I became a medium, I said, that's what I want to do. I don't want to focus on somebody's death. That's one day. That's one day they
Mhm.
die, but they live. Like, focus on their life, like, paint them back to life for that person. If you can do that, like, what? And make them feel better. Cause that's all
Mhm.
I wanted. I just wanted him back for a second.
Most people will not believe you unless if they
Yeah.
feel that is actually their loved ones coming through. So I understand what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
And
people
mhm,
too on TikTok like that, Aisha, who come in and say, you're a scammer, you're a fraud. And I never ever kick them out. I don't. I say, just wait, just stick around. That's all I ask. Just stick around. Because
mhm,
this is literally like a year and a half ago. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I don't have time to like help save the world. I want to do it because I want people to feel better.
what made you more, lean towards mediumship as a practice? I know sometimes you probably want to do it because you want to connect with your loved ones, like your brother, but what exactly attracted you to this field of mediumship? What made you feel like, oh, yes, this is what I want to do, and this is the path I want to take?
I've actually always been very, very interested in the spirit world and people who have passed on and mediums,
Mhm.
always. And when I kind of like found out almost, everything in my life made sense. It was like almost like everything clicked and it
Right.
just felt right. It felt like this is what I was made to do. Like I felt like my whole life I really didn't know. I feel like everybody else knew something that I didn't know. And I was always trying to figure out what they knew. And now I know what they know. Does that make sense? I always just felt like lost almost, or that I just, something was missing.
Mhm.
Um, and now I don't feel that whatsoever at all.
For me, mediumship is a way to connect to, the unseen world that people usually don't really gravitate to per se. And because of that kind of communication constantly, to know that we're more than our physical bodies and that we go beyond this world and we can actually communicate with people that passed away, because most times people think that when someone passes away, that's the end of that soul and the person is not gonna come over. So probably have you had readings where someone was quite skeptical about mediumship, and after a while, like, the person was like, yes, that's okay, she can be making that up. Do you want to share some of those kind of memorable experiences with us?
I had a wife one time, and she was getting a reading and she was doing it in her car. Okay. Her husband was inside.
Hmm.
She was doing it in her car. So I gathered that she was probably more of a believer than maybe he was. I didn't know any of this at the time that her husband was
Okay.
inside. I started the reading and I kept pulling through this mail. And I'm like, she wanted to talk to her mother, I believe. And I kept pulling through this mail. And I kept giving her more and more evidence. And she said, "Oh my gosh, you have my husband's father." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "He's not going to like this, but come with me. We're going to go get my husband." And I'm like, "Oh gosh." I'm like, "Oh God." Because people who are skeptical, they kind of scare me. I mean, I love talking to them, but it's
Yeah.
like sometimes they could be really blocked. And I know that because I was that
Mhm.
way, you know? So I know that feeling, and it's like, "Oh gosh." So here comes this guy, and this guy was a big guy, and he looked like he was a tough guy, right? And so I just do the reading, and he kept saying yes, yes, and I wasn't looking at him because I look
Mhm.
away. And after I'm done, I look at him, and he has tears running down
Oh
his
no.
face. This big man, oh, makes me want to cry now, but this like big man who like
Mhm.
he was a police officer, actually. This man was a police officer. This gentleman was a police officer, and his father was also a police officer. And his father kept saying, like, "We're the same, we're the same, we have the same heart." And it was really beautiful. Those moments are the best when
Wow.
someone comes in not knowing what to expect, having no expectations. That's the best. Or having, that gentleman who was probably very skeptical, and he's probably like, "Oh my God, what has my wife gotten me into?" To crying on his couch and knowing that his
Mm.
dad was right there with him.
Yeah.
I would, yeah, those are the best moments, I think.
Because he knew that was his dad. He's like, no, this is not her. This is.
Yeah. And it felt like a release for him too. I mean, he was crying like a baby. And it's just like this beautiful release that I love that he couldn't even control his tears.
Mm.
He couldn't control it. He was just
Yeah, that's
pretty
pretty
cool.
heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. It's really cool because
Mhm.
he'll remember that for the rest of his life, that his dad is around him.
He will not kind of wave it away when he thinks about his dad, or if his dad comes through, he's not going to be, maybe in dreams or in just small ways. Yeah. Because we do kind of brush off those kind of things and say, oh, no, that's not true. So, yeah. Have you ever brought through like an animal or a different type of, spirits while you're reading, apart from human beings, like, I
Yeah.
guess animals and all this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, animals. Absolutely. My first animal reading, I will never forget. It's when I started on TikTok. I think I was like 6 months in, and I was doing what I knew I was doing, if that makes sense. And
Hmm.
it was people. I was reading people, and someone booked with me. Okay. And it was a younger girl. Maybe she was like 22, something like that. And she wanted me to bring through her dog.
Oh.
And I was like, "I'm sorry." I was like, I've never done pets before, so I can give you back your money. Like, I've never done it before." And she said, "Gina," she's like, "I've seen what you can do. I know you can do it." And
Wow.
immediately first of all, I cried for a second because I was like, this stranger has so much
Hmm.
confidence in me, more than I do in myself. So I borrowed her confidence. And I said, all right. And I brought her dog, which was like her baby. It was like her life. And it was the
Oh,
most
wow.
beautiful thing because animals' energy is so different than humans.
Oh, is
It's
it?
very like light and playful, and it's really beautiful. I also brought in a gerbil one time, which was shocking. A gerbil
Oh,
that had
wow.
passed away. Yeah, hamster, gerbil, one of those. But this little, it was an older woman, okay, and she had a very traumatic background, okay, when she was growing up.
Mhm.
And I kept feeling this little animal, and I was like, what is this? I was like, it's a bunny, but it's with small ears. And that's what I was seeing. That's what they were showing me. And the woman was like, what? And then I said a name, and it was the name of the gerbil.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, oh my gosh, she had this gerbil when she was a little girl, a little girl. And for years and years and years, it was her best friend. And while she had this really beautiful relationship with this gerbil, it kind of saved her when she was little
Hmm.
because she had a very traumatic upbringing. And it was really beautiful
Wow.
because what may seem, maybe minute to me was her entire world.
I mean, I don't know about animals, but I'm like, that's a whole different form of consciousness and a self, different energy, like you said, different way they communicate. Do they talk?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when animals come through for me, it's very visual.
Okay.
It uses my clairvoyance. So they're not really showing me songs. It's very much
Mhm.
I see. It is I'll see the color of their collar, or I'll see like their favorite treats, or I'll see all of
Um,
these little pieces that they show me. And they have so much gratitude all the time. Their gratitude always like trumps human beings for me, from what I feel. The
mhm.
gratitude from animals is for their owners is awesome.
Especially dogs, I assume.
Yes, dogs are more excited.
Is there a difference between like the energy of someone who just passed away versus someone who has like passed away a long time ago? Like, is there difference in how they feel or how they present themselves?
Yes. So during my readings, I feel a lot. And
Mhm.
it's very hard to explain unless you're like super in touch with your feelings. But I do feel it's like I feel the distance almost. So if I get like a grandfather, I may feel that he has passed a really long time ago, or he'll give me a number to show me.
Okay.
And if someone has passed recently, I might be more emotional to show me that it was a recent passing, or I'll get that closeness. They'll show me the client
Mhm.
and them together, and I'll get a sense of that they were older when this happened, or they were younger, and it's kind of based
Mhm.
on feeling for me. I think everybody does it differently, but it's you just feel the distance.
Oh, yours is more of the feeling side than is it all
Yeah.
the clairs like is it all the clairs or that you feel or is just some of them that you feel?
Like clear feeling, there's clear cognizance, clear knowing.
Mm.
So I have all of the clairs, and I use all of them for my readings. In one sense, I'll see something, in one sense, I'll hear something, but I use all of them. But I
Okay.
feel like my feeling is very, very strong. Like I feel colors.
Oh.
Um, like not like as a as a human being, like a normal person, but if I'm doing a reading,
Hmm.
I won't see the color, I'll feel the color. And the color feels purple or it feels red to me. It's like wild.
How do you feel colors? I'm
I don't
curious.
know. I don't know.
Okay. I'm like like it gets very happy, gets very bubbly, like how
It's like this,
okay.
it's almost like this feeling and knowing. But yes, like yellow, for example, it'll feel very like light and like bright. Or purple will feel very spiritual and very
Mm-hmm.
deep.
And do those colors change based on like if someone died in a very tragic manner, like in their sleep, for example, it's not as tragic as if someone died in a like an accident. So do those things change for you? How? Like you said you feel those kind of things. Do you feel the car moving into someone or
If someone got hit by a car, for example, like I'll feel like physical impact to my chest.
oh.
Like it's almost like an elephant and sits on my chest really quick. Or I've had someone get, hit in the head. I will have this intense headache. Like it will feel so intense for me and only last like a couple seconds. And it may kind of come and go, but they're trying to let me know that they passed right here, the head. So yes, they do all of those kind of things. And probably
Hmm.
some things that I don't even notice yet. Like it's always like it's ever evolving. They always show me in somehow and I
Mm.
invite them in too. Like I want to feel that so I can, prove to the sitter that I have their loved one. It's just a piece of evidence so they know.
How exactly did it start from you and how exactly has it evolved for you over the years?
It started like a big bang is what it started like. It wasn't like, "Ooh, is this how I'm doing it? Is this how I'm doing it?" It was almost like right in my face, like that loud music. It's almost like spirit was waiting for me to be
Oh.
like, "Okay, she's ready. Boop, here she goes." It came into me very, very, very quickly. And I actually had to take a step back because it was very overwhelming. I think that learning from other people was and is my biggest tool in my toolbox, but also learning from myself and almost checking in with both of those and making sure they're kind of lining up. What I'm hearing for myself and maybe what people I trust say, if they're matching up, I feel like I'm in a good spot. And maybe sometime in my life I won't need outside, people to help me with that. But I'm all about validation, though. I have to have validation still. I have to have the validation knowing that, or the evidence, It's like I just, that's why I became like an evidential medium because the message means nothing if there's no evidence.
It's quite unique to you, right? I mean, it's not everybody that does that. When you find out that that actually works to look a certain way rather than just, just staring, blankly.
I honestly,
Mm.
trial and error.
Hmm.
I've done it with my eyes shut. I've done it with, looking right, looking up, looking down. Like I've literally facing east, facing west. I've tried it all. I have. But for me, it's just disconnecting like from this
Mhm.
just to set an intention that this exists. And now I'm speaking over here. I'm also ADD. So if I get
Uh,
too many things going on.
yeah, it makes sense with the whole alpha with the targets. I had a medium here. She's like, you just have to have like alpha with the targets, where do you want to connect to your intention? And then you just immediately connect to that person. Is that how that works for you? Or does it have to like a meditation or how long is the meditation for you?
I
Is
just
it
take a couple minutes
Mhm.
and ask spirit to deliver a message with love and light. Let love and light out and let love and light in. And as long as we have those two things, I feel like we're good. And that's kind of how I start. And I just take a second and quiet myself. I might listen to some music.
has it
And it's
always
it's just
yeah,
setting the
sorry.
intention. Just the
Sorry.
intention that you said, the intention. It's yeah.
Okay. Has it always been love and light for you, or has it always been you trying to find what energies, there are this energies that they call the earthbound souls, people that are stuck here on the physical plane and if not transitioned, and maybe sometimes it could come off a bit aggressive than other spiritual. I guess that's like more paranormal stuff. But how did it take you to be able to, say, okay, no, this is not what I want to bring through in a reading. I want to bring in just people that are love and light and not someone who is necessarily like aggressive in a way.
I think that has been a challenge for me, just because there may be a daughter that is love and light, and her father was not love and light.
Mm.
And maybe she wants to speak with him, and that it's not always up to me when it comes to that. And I have been in that position before, where I have brought through people who have killed other people, who have hurt other people, who have done the most horrible things you could even think of.
Oh, goodness.
And they show me that. in the readings, and I'll feel that. And I just make sure that I clear my energy, and my intentions are always pure and true.
Mm.
Because I have read, and the energy is very different. It's very different. You can feel it. You can cut it with a knife. It's so dense. It's not light and airy. So it's difficult, but it's something that I have agreed to take on as a medium, because
Mm.
if you're willing to bring in the good, you have to be willing to bring in, I don't want to say the bad, or like the lower vibrational, because there's a message of love and light there. Like only love can drown that out. You know what I mean? Only love can drown that out.
Obviously, you have to cleanse the energies afterwards. If not, do they?
Mhm.
I mean, I think some people can stick around with you if you don't clear if you don't clear them away. Do they just stick around and just
Yeah.
hang out with you for the
Okay. They
longest
better
time?
not. I know. I am very, I'm like, you better not. No, nobody's showing up after hours, like being creeps. But no, no, I just clear my energy, and I know if my energy's off. If you know how your own energy feels, you know when it
Mm-hmm.
shifts and feels off.
Mm-hmm.
And I have set something up with my spirit guides where I'm able to clear my own energy, and I can feel it like going up the back of my spine and out. And if I feel like it's clogged a little bit, burn some candles and do extra practices. I have a couple friends who also help me with that as well. And a lot of friends that I've met on TikTok, like Brianna, who's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. It's a really cool story, but I read for her grandmother, and now she's a
Oh,
medium.
you started her
Oh,
journey for her.
yeah, but you know what? She keeps mine going. That's the best part, is like, it's just an ever evolving, beautiful, beautiful thing that I'm just grateful for. And I'm grateful for you too, Aisha, for, asking me to be on your show. And I hope that it like helps somebody. I hope that somebody hears this and is like, wait a second, but even you're helping me. So appreciate it.
Maybe there's a soul contract somewhere.
Yeah, I like it.
What about babies? Do they come through? I mean,
They
little,
do.
they do.
Yeah. Yep. Even like miscarriages, terminations, anything like that, it's always a soul. So it's always somewhere. Most of the time it will be with your loved ones. And they always show up as like little blips for me, or little sparkles. For me, when I bring in babies, they don't have a ton to say, just because they didn't have like a ton of life to live. But they will show me things like their siblings, or what they do, or if they watch their siblings or play with their siblings. They love animals. So anybody who's lost like a baby or a child, they hang
Mhm.
around the animals, the dogs, the cats that they loved, and especially siblings. They're so attached to siblings, but their energy is very, very beautiful. But it
Mhm.
just reminds me of like Tinkerbell almost. It's very much kind
Oh,
of flits in and flits out, and it's very light and really beautiful. But they're always with a loved one. They're never, ever,
oh.
ever alone. And from what I've seen, I don't ever bring a baby in by itself. They're always attached to one of your loved ones.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that goes for the people that always say that, religious people that say that people just pass away and go to hell or something. That goes without a saying that they
A lot
don't.
of pressure.
Yeah,
That's a
that
lot of
doesn't.
pressure. My
Yeah.
gosh.
You say you grew up Catholic. I mean, I'm sure in Catholicism, that is not something that is usually welcome, mediumship. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that mediumship is something that the church allows for.
Yeah, I've heard different sides. But yeah, I went to Catholic school, and my kids go to Catholic school. But I'm not ashamed of what I do. It's kind of like I want to like normalize it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so much, all religions are right. They're all right. Everybody's right. But nobody
Yeah.
wants to say that they're all right, because they want to think that theirs is right. And that puts you in a box. And if you're in a box, you're not going to grow. So it's kind of like I do believe in Catholicism, but I also believe in Buddhism. I also believe in all these other beautiful religions
Mhm,
because I see truth in a lot of them. And I also see control in a lot of them as well. So
mhm.
I have a hard time listening to people telling me to do anything. That's just how I am. I am working on it, but I don't, if someone tells me to do something, I will do the opposite. So when I went to Catholic school, I was like, I can't do, I can't do that. So once I
Mhm.
found out for myself, that's how I had to do it. Is find out for yourself, like sit with yourself and see what the truth is. But yeah, that's another wild world to navigate. Kids in Catholic school being a medium, and then your friends who are, normal human
Mhm.
beings finding out about it, and teachers. It's,
That's a
it's a
big deal.
whole nother. It is.
They probably seeing it
Oh,
as the weird one. I feel like weird is very good in my dictionary. Like
me
the more
too.
weird, the more good, you know? So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But do people that cross over, do they let you know what the afterlife looks like? I mean, like, do they let you know what it is on their own side of things and how the afterlife actually looks like? Or does it look different for each and every one of them?
That is not something that I have experienced yet, maybe
Okay.
in bits and pieces in my meditations. But whenever I pull in a loved one, they want to talk about the client or the sitter. I would love for them to tell me what they do throughout the day because that I would love to know. But my own curiosity, it means nothing in a reading. It's they just kind of tell the client what they want to tell them. But that is so interesting though. I would love to
Would you
know.
like to explore
What do
that?
we do all day? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like writing this down in my little mental notepad.
Because I've always wondered what that looks like. I mean, I've heard stories about them, but experiencing it yourself is just a whole different thing. And hearing
Yeah.
maybe from your loved one, maybe your brother, if you do you communicate with him? Maybe if you communicate with him, maybe he could help you out.
I do sometimes communicate with him. It's very hard because it's still fresh and it's just still a little raw.
Um,
So it's hard to like communicate with him. So I'll use my spirit guides or something like that. He is always there. If I'm in a meditation, if I can feel him. He's always like around me,
mhm.
which I appreciate and it's amazing. But
Are you feeling him right? 'Cause-
I know I'm like, oh gosh, stop. I literally looked at a picture of him and then I'm like, oh God, here he is. Thanks a lot. You're like, uh-oh.
So, well, I mean, they're always with you. You just have to just turn your attention to where they are, and then they come through for you. I mean, they don't give you like, things that happen in the future. I mean, it's not all the time. I heard that they can give you, if they're not good at certain things, they will not be able to give you those kind of predictions of things to come, but they can probably give you predictions like if you're gonna have a baby or, but not necessarily like you're gonna win the fortune or something. Like,
Yes, that is my experience, except I will say, and I actually made a video about it, a TikTok video, because I was blown away. It was a girl's brother, stepbrother, and he
mhm.
loved the Georgia Bulldogs. He was a big football fan, and I had brought through this information, and I was like, wait, Georgia, Alabama. Wait, what's happening? Georgia, what? And then I was like, he keeps saying these two team names. The chat lit up and said they have a game
Oh,
tomorrow, like the big game tomorrow. And I'm like, what? And I don't
wow.
watch football. I don't. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, if he is telling me that Georgia's going to win, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I said, guys, everybody in this room better watch that game tomorrow because he's saying Georgia's going to win. And damn if Georgia didn't win.
No
Yep.
way.
Yep. And I was at like a spa hotel, like watching the football game. Like I was like on there, like, oh my gosh, I should have gotten a massage instead, but it was well worth it.
Wow. Just that's so random. Like,
Yeah. That's
Georgia.
how much he
Wow.
loved football. Like that was like, I don't know. His sister still comes in and talks about it.
And that's how you know that that's the person, because like,
Yep. Oh my gosh.
do you do like cards reading together with mediumship or the oracle cards?
I do. Sometimes just kind of like for fun, I'll pull them for my clients, or if I'm doing psychic work, I don't um need the tarot cards. Sometimes I wish I needed them because it almost provides a little more clarity. I've grabbed them a couple times if I'm doing psychic readings just to kind of like check myself with what I'm saying,
Mhm.
but I just kind of rattle off. It's just kind of comes. But yeah, there's all kinds of divination tools, and um I love cards though. There's so many beautiful ones.
Yeah, I have a bunch of them.
They're so fun.
When you stop buying one of them, you can't stop buying them.
I know. Oh God, yes. There's yeah, for the rest of our lives, just decks of cards everywhere.
I wanted to ask, what's your favorite type of reading? What is the like your best reading that you do, like a particular spirit energy that you like to tap into? I know we've spoken about, a bunch of spirits, but what kind of energy are you more keen into?
I mean, honestly, I like the funny ones. There's this like it gives me like this almost like this grandfather energy almost. That's like this like funny grandfather
Hmm.
energy. It's high vibrational, but they also show me clairvoyantly, and it could be a grandmother, clairvoyantly how they used to joke around and tricks they used to play. And sometimes they
Mm.
will make me say something to prove a point they're very witty, very funny. I mean, honestly, any energy is amazing to bring through, but I think just the high vibrational energy that
Hmm.
kind of just trumps everything. It makes you feel like you're literally just going to burst into tears because it's so beautiful.
Mm.
And to even know that exists is wild. You know what I mean? Like even to know
I
that
know.
exists and then feel it is like, what is happening?
You've met a lot of people this way. And then you
Yeah.
probably meet face to face a lot of like dead people, but they're not really dead. They're just hanging out somewhere. I
Yep.
wonder where they hang out. I know that we say that they hang out in source energy or, but I'm always curious about finding new information about what exactly they do over there.
Me too. Me too. That'll be my next rabbit hole. So thank you. That I will definitely be looking into that. So let me know if you find anything because
I know that they say all mediums are psychic and but not all psychics are medium. So what's the difference between having like a psychic reading versus having like a mediumship reading?
so psychic reading is basically just it's not going to tell you the future. It's not like you have you know what I mean, that crystal ball. It's more like it brings clarity to a situation and it helps the sitter bring clarity to at literally any situation. I've had people come in for psychic readings that are thinking about moving or which job they want to take. And I'm like, don't tell me anything. Don't tell me anything. And then I'll give them information and they're like, you just told me what job to take. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like doing like a reverse, you know, situation. But the difference for me is mediumship is the energy is very it's very deep. Psychic feels
Mm.
very like surface to me. And mediumship is you gotta dig a little bit kind of like deeper. Psychic, you're going out and getting the information.
Mhm.
Mediumship, you're sitting there and waiting for the information, that loved one to come to you. And some people find it difficult to wait for it.
Find it difficult to wait for it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you have to like sit and wait for the information, the loved one to kind of come in to almost blend with them completely before you're giving the reading. And it's just a very different way of tapping in, a very different intention to set, I guess. Some people go and get the information. It's very hard to explain, but it's like there's this searching for information. And maybe that's
Mm.
not the best way to go about mediumship, because then you're trying to control something that spirit has control of. And if you think that you have more control than spirit, then, maybe you shouldn't be reading. But but I've gone through that as well. Like I try to control it, and then I'm like, oh gosh, I'm controlling it. So
Like you're
yeah.
controlling the flow of information or
Yes. Or controlling what I say.
Mhm.
Like say I'll look over here, right, and I'll see a blanket with a unicorn on it, but I don't say it because I'm like, I don't understand what that blanket means. But it's not for me to understand. It's for you to
Okay.
understand.
Yeah.
Maybe your mom gave you a blanket with a unicorn on it. Why is it for me to understand? And I guess that's why it's a medium, right in the middle. So it's just saying what I see instead of trying to interpret it. So if it's coming from here, then I try to spit it out before it gets to my brain, because once it gets to my brain, I'm going to try to figure it out, and I don't need him to figure anything out. So that's what I try to avoid doing.
That's true. I mean, searching your brain for information of what to use to make sense.
Yeah. Yep.
How does it feel like to sit in someone's energy and to know that that person is, how do you know someone is blocked per se, is what I'm trying to say. Like someone who doesn't want to let you in for a reading, you know, people that are very close. Do you just perceive that energy? And is it like the loved one doesn't just come through because that person is not sure? How is that energy like? How is that dynamic? How does that work?
I feel like it's just a different way of navigating the reading. I don't feel that anyone intentionally blocks themselves off. I think that they don't know how readings happen. I don't have their loved one just telling me everything in my ear for me to tell you. That's not how it works. It's they give me it through symbols and songs, and I have to, figure it out and tell you what I see. So I have a lot of people who it's their first reading, and it's very hard for them to understand why dad didn't mention the necklace that they were wearing during the reading. And it's not because it wasn't dad. Okay. If all the other information is correct, but I didn't mention the necklace that you had on, maybe there was a bigger message than the necklace. And maybe you missed the message because you're looking for the necklace. So if people are getting readings for the first time, or are very closed off, which I've had, it's kind of like that prove it to me attitude. It's like that. I tell them just to take a second, and I tell them just to like open up just a little bit. And then I tell them how I communicate with spirit. And I basically tell them I'm playing charades with someone in a different realm. Okay. So it's me trying to figure out what they're trying to tell me and then to tell you. And it gives people a visual that they're like, oh, okay. I thought it was just them talking to you. I feel like if you're trying to be understanding of people, then they'll try to understand you and open up a little bit more.
You could not be sure about how exactly it works, and that could lead you to get blocked, for example, or you're overthinking. But psychically, is that like you're reading their aura, or is it just like medium?
I read their energy. Mediumship is reading, connecting the loved one who has passed away with the sitter, with the client. Okay. And then psychic is just me connecting to the sitter or client's energy only. No dead people involved, just living. Unless they come in, which they always do. But so it's just me reading their energy and almost talking like my spirit guides, talking to their spirit guides, because maybe they don't know how, or maybe they don't trust, or a variety of different reasons, and having them communicate so I can tell them what I'm seeing or feeling, but all evidence-based too. Because I try to give the sitter evidence even in their psychic readings, so they understand that the more complex messages and are able to hear them, if that makes sense.
Complex mess. Okay. Oh, like if the spirit guides have something to relate to them about a particular situation, then it will come true.
Yeah. Or maybe they came into the reading wanting to know about a specific job, and I tell them about their job and they're understanding everything I'm saying, but then their spirit guides are showing me that she's in an abusive relationship. Okay. Then it switches. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, what's going on here? They want to talk about this. So it can happen in a variety of different ways. No two ways are ever the same, but stuff like that does come up. Yeah. But maybe it'll give the person the ears to listen to that message, since I told, hey, listen, you're looking at this job here and this job here. And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. This one's at the beach and da 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 da. And then I'm like, wait, what's going on with this? It's building trust, but building trust through evidence, so that they'll be able to hear messages from spirit through me.
Psychic reading seems very interesting. I haven't tried it before. I should probably try it with you.
Yeah, you should. Let me know whenever.
I'm not sure how that works. And I mean, I understand mediumship, but I don't understand the psychic part of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It does. It does because there are two. I learned mediumship before I learned psychism. And I've heard that you're supposed to learn it the other way around. I've heard, both ways, but I learn everything backwards. But mediumship came into me super quick. And then I was like, wait, what was I supposed to do first? So mine's a little bit backwards, but yeah, they feel very different to me.
So you had to do like a training or any special training to kind of awake those abilities, or it just came naturally for you?
I just practice. I just keep practicing. Like I said, I've had teachers and friends that have helped me immensely. I've also taken development courses. Right now, I am learning and working on trusting my spirit guides and my higher self. And they want me to do what I'm doing now. Sometimes when you get in like a class or development course, they want you to do X, Y, and Z and say, do you understand this happening? Do you understand that happening? I had a hard time, like I always do, following the rules. And I'm like, if you're telling me that I'm talking to dead people, we're supposed to follow rules with this? I don't think so. Of course, I know that I work in the love and light and I don't want to hurt anybody. I want to help them. And maybe people take classes to learn that. But right now, I like to learn it more organically. And it actually helps me trust myself and be more in tune with myself right now.
It's not one size fit all. I mean, everybody has their own different ways of doing things. The dead people know that you have a certain way of doing things and you come to you just exactly the way you are, It's just, I guess when you're training on those skills, you're just trying to open up to the energies. That's the way I see it. And, we're in the digital age. Do you think mediumship is going to be so much more different? Do you think like AIs are start being sentient enough to give someone like a reading, or how do you see yourself working?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, I can imagine that. I literally have never thought about that before. That is terrifying. But I love this. I love, being on TikTok and there's Instagram and there's all these like beautiful platforms because there's like this influx of mediums and psychics coming out, right? It's like, I feel like everybody I know now is a medium or a psychic or they're pulling cards, or maybe there's people that shouldn't be doing it. I don't really know. That's not my monkeys, but it's beautiful because there are people that need healing and they get to like vet their mediums. They get to watch them and like, I don't like this one. I like this one, and find someone that they connect with. And I also get to find people that I can help. It's just a really, really beautiful bridge. And I certainly hope that AI does not get any of its clairs. Okay.
That's gonna be I mean, maybe they could take out the consciousness and put it on the AI or something.
Yeah, exactly.
How does TikTok work? Like, I mean, I know people come in for readings and stuff, but what is the most exciting part about walking on TikTok with people?
It's almost like finding your tribe. It's finding your tribe. It's finding like people that like vibe with you. And then I have my followers, I swear they are literally the best people on TikTok. They go to bat for me no matter what. They are so helpful and it's really amazing because it gives me like this boost in confidence in the human race. Because I'm like, wait a second, these people do exist. Like, not everybody's look at these people, and it's so supportive of other people getting readings. So it's a really beautiful community that I really am working on building. I have my friend, like I mentioned before, Brianna, who I met on TikTok, and we've started working together and collaborating on a lot of separate projects because of the community aspect. And And it's really beautiful because then there's a lot of things most things that I know nothing about. And they'll say, Gina, what do I do? I'm seeing a black mist in the air every time
Mm-hmm.
something bad happens.
Oh.
And I'm able to say, I cannot help you with that. I can tell you what you can possibly do, but I can tell you who to go to. So I get a lot of questions like that. Hey, Gina, where would you go if you needed help with this? And I can be like, oh, this person's really good. So it's almost being approachable and not being like a robot medium and just telling people stuff, but being like, hey, listen, like I got you. Like I'm pretty normal too, I think. I don't know. Questionable. But it's just bridging that connection. That's pretty much all it is. But TikTok is super fun. I do lives
Mm-hmm.
and reading from there, and the vibe's pretty good most of the time. We get some trolls, but we let them stay.
I think I saw one of those preaching to you, and I'm like, no, don't do that. No, don't. Something
Oh my
about Jesus
goodness.
is Lord or something. I don't know. It's not funny.
Yes, I know. Those are the best. I'm like, God loves you. And I'm like, I know, God loves you too. I'm like, I don't, we're saying the same thing.
I don't know. But mediumship is very fun and very exciting. And I've seen the way it's able to change people's lives, turn around people's outlook. Have you had those kind of experiences where, it's brought a lot of healing to someone that you can still see that change in that person up to today? Do people come to you to tell you what it has done to them and how it has, changed their lives in general?
And that's like, you're like making me tear up, like thinking about it,
Mm.
because that's literally the best part of my job. It is the best part of my job. I get, messages, DMs all the time. I've stopped checking them because some of them are, it's a lot, but where people are so grateful
Mhm.
and they keep me updated on their lives and how they chose a sign for their loved one to come through. And now they see the sign all the time. A lot of people that I read for, I will feel that they have special abilities. We all do, but maybe some people are more apt to them. And I'll feel that. And then they will become more aware and then in turn start their own journey. Like Brianna, for example, or I have a couple other girlfriends, and we've actually had like little Zoom classes and Zoom development circles
Oh.
and Q&As just to, hey, come in and ask me. And if I don't know the answer, I'm not gonna, bull crap you and tell you I do. I'll just be like, oh, go see this person because I don't know. So people all the time, all the time. There's so many people on this journey that it's actually like, I feel like we're on the precipice of something very big.
Consciousness opening up to different, I won't say entities, but different kind of, consciousness coming in, maybe like extraterrestrial. Maybe we'll start channeling them soon. I don't know. Do you
Yep. I
think you
mean,
can start channeling extraterrestrials?
they better not come to me. There's a lot of other people that they could go to. They know better because I'll just scream and like run away.
They're just a different form of consciousness. I mean,
I know, I know. I'm not there yet.
Mhm.
I just got into dead people. I'm gonna kind of stick with them until I, conquer my
Yeah.
next aliens and stuff. So.
I bet you, I always think about this. I'm always like, how you channel for mediums and mediums channel loved ones. I'm like, if possibly I pass away, I will definitely look for a medium somewhere to bug someone to go look for my loved one. Maybe I'll be one of those kind of spirit that sits by your bed and says, I'm ready.
Oh gosh, I will put you off the bed with my feet. I'll be like, you know what? Wait until I go on live to talk to your loved ones, Aisha. I know what you're doing.
But some of them can wait. I mean, it's like, no, right now. Let's do
Yep.
this right now.
Yep, that's so true.
And where can we find you to get a read-in, or if you give any classes on mediumship?
So right now, classes and development circles are on hold. It is the
Mhm.
end of summer, and like I said, I have 3 kids. So once they go back to school, I'll be able to work more full time.
Mhm.
So I have my website, which is GinaTheMedium.com. And
Mhm.
also on TikTok, it's Gina the Medium. I feel like there's a lot of fake accounts out there as well, but if you sift through them, you'll be able to find it. And so I do readings on there for a lot of free readings. I give away free readings all the time. I very
Mhm.
rarely do paid readings just because why not? So yeah, so TikTok or on my personal webpage, but I would say TikTok is probably the best.
Mhm.
Um, way to find me if you want a mediumship reading and just to check it out. Don't even book anything. Just come check me out. And then if
Mhm.
you like what I'm doing for somebody else, maybe you'll like what I can do for you.
Exactly. Just give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I followed you one time on TikTok and I had a lot of Gina the Mediums following me. So just be cautious of which one. You have the highest following on all the accounts, though, on
Oh, yes.
TikTok. Yeah.
Okay. So the highest following. Okay, good.
Any last few words for the audience? Anything that you want to say? Any last messages from spirit? Whatever.
Mm. I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful that you asked me to be here.
Mhm.
And to me, this is not just an interview. It's a beautiful conversation, and hopefully people can hear it, and not for anybody else but themselves. And I thank you for doing that. And it's I know that YouTube is a labor of love. So I respect you very much. And if I have questions in the future, I may reach out to you. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think you're doing a great job, and thank you. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for asking me.
Thank you so much for coming, for accepting the
Welcome.
invitation. I mean,
Of
she
course.
does really amazing work. I mean, if you want to get a reading, just go on her website or go on TikTok. She will give you the best reading ever. I assure you of that.
Thank you, Aisha.
All right. Thank you.